It was a typical Tuesday afternoon when I first noticed the massive semi-truck parked right at the edge of my property. My farm, sprawling and full of life, had been peaceful until now. The truck wasn't just on my property, it was taking up a large chunk of land near the main entrance, right where I had planned to plant some crops next season. I immediately grabbed my phone and dialed the number for the local HOA office. Susan, the HOA president, answered quickly, and I got straight to the point. Susan, there's a semi-truck parked on my farm. I didn't authorize anyone to park it there. What's going on? There was a brief pause before she responded, her voice tinged with defensiveness. Oh, that? Well, we had a delivery issue, and someone from the HOA thought it would be fine to park the truck there temporarily. It's just a few days and the driver will be gone once the job is finished. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This wasn't just an inconvenience, it was a direct violation of my property rights. I didn't care who had authorized it. No one had the right to park a massive semi-truck on my land without my consent. No one has permission to park anything on my property, Susan, I said firmly. This is my farm, not a public lot for random deliveries. I expect it moved immediately, or I'll take legal action. Susan hesitated, clearly trying to come up with an excuse. But the HOA has been working with the delivery company, and it's just temporary, like I said. It doesn't matter, I shot back. I don't care if it's temporary or permanent. You don't park a truck on someone's land without permission. I want it moved now. When Susan failed to provide a solution, I hung up the phone and decided to take matters into my own hands. I drove over to the area where the truck was parked and saw that it was indeed blocking a significant portion of my land. There was a group of people gathered around the truck, but none of them seemed to know what they were doing. I marched up to them, my temper already flaring. What is this truck doing here? I demanded, looking directly at the driver. The driver, a burly man wearing a baseball cap, looked confused for a second before trying to brush me off. The HOA told me to park it here for a few days. I'm just following orders. No one from the HOA has the right to tell you to park here, I said, my voice firm and commanding. You need to move this truck now, and you need to do it quickly. The driver gave me a doubtful look, as if unsure whether to take me seriously. But before he could respond, I took out my badge and held it up. I'm the police chief of this town, I said, my tone unmistakably authoritative. And I'm telling you right now to move this truck. If you don't, you're trespassing, and I will have it impounded. The driver's eyes widened as he recognized the seriousness in my voice. Okay, sure thing, Chief. I'll move it. As the driver scrambled to move the truck off my property, I turned to the group of onlookers who had been watching the scene unfold. The HOA members, trying to stay out of sight, were clearly hoping I wouldn't notice them. But I did. Susan appeared from behind the truck, her face flushed with frustration. You didn't have to make a scene, she muttered, her words dripping with resentment. It was just a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding, I repeated, stepping toward her. You think it's a misunderstanding when you allow someone to park a semi-truck on my farm without my permission? That's trespassing, Susan, and it's illegal. She opened her mouth to respond, but I wasn't done. This won't be the first time you've done this. You've been overstepping your bounds for far too long, and I'm not going to tolerate it anymore. Susan's defensiveness faltered as she realized I wasn't going to back down. Okay, we'll move the truck, and we won't do it again, she muttered. But that wasn't enough. You're going to send out an official apology letter to me, and I want this on record that no one from the HOA is allowed to park anything on my land without written permission from me. And if this happens again, I'll have no choice but to pursue legal action. Susan bit her lip, clearly unwilling to acknowledge just how serious I was, but she didn't argue further. She knew I had the power to make good on my threats. As I watched the semi-truck finally pull away from my property, I took a deep breath. This incident had reminded me once again why I couldn't let my guard down when it came to the HOA. They were overstepping their bounds, and I wasn't about to let them push me around. By the time I got back home, I felt a sense of relief. The truck was gone, my property was restored, and the HOA had been put on notice. As the police chief, I knew I had the authority to keep my land safe from intrusion, and as long as I had that badge, no one, no matter how powerful they thought they were, was going to mess with me.